What's up? This video is all about slide lock reloads. I'm going to discuss the two most common techniques for slide lock reloads, the pros and cons to each, so stay tuned.
Yeah, the other teams are moving in the background,
Welcome back, Carlos here with Ready and Tactical. On this channel, we create content full of useful tips, techniques, and or drills just like this one. So if you want to build and or expand your tactical knowledge base, hit that subscribe button and notification bell to catch all my latest videos. All right, slide lock reloads, right? This happens on an empty magazine. You fire your last round and your slide stays to the rear, indicating you're out of ammunition, right? Now, two main schools of thought when it comes to dealing with this. Number one is the over the top or the slingshot technique, and the other one's gonna be the slide lock lever on either side here. Both of those are viable techniques, right? What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna discuss both. I'm gonna give you the pros and cons to each, and I'm gonna tell you which one I prefer, right? But what it boils down to is you need to practice both techniques and then figure out which one is best for you, which one you're more comfortable and efficient with, and stick with that one. All right, technique number one, the over the top or the slingshot technique, right? This technique is probably, if you're a new shooter, I would almost recommend you start with the over the top or the slingshot technique. Why, right? Number one, it's super easy to do, right? You insert a magazine and you slingshot it, and it's good to go, right? Super simple, super efficient technique. Now, a couple of reasons you might prefer the over-the-top technique. Number one, again, like I said, if you're a new shooter, it's super simple. Insert magazine, and you are good to go. Number two, if you're a left-handed shooter and you're living in a right-handed world where the slide lock is on the other side, that may be a better option for you, right? Another option, some of these subcompact guns, that slide lock lever, such as this Glock, is rather small, sometimes kind of difficult to get to, right? So you insert a magazine and you are good to go. And lastly, it's one of those techniques that works for multiple things, right? If I have a malfunction, I can tap, rack, and I'm doing the same motion for two techniques. So that may be some of the reasons you may prefer the over-the-top technique, right? Now, a couple of the cons that I feel are with the over-the-top technique. Number one, I feel it's slower, and I'll get some data here in a minute on the target so you can analyze that for yourself, but I think it's inefficient, right? You have to insert a magazine on the bottom, then you bring your hand over to the top, and then you bring your hand back down to the side to establish your grip before you punch out and finish the sequence, right? And I like to shoot as efficient as possible, right? So I feel there's a lot of extra or excess movement in doing all these things with my support hand side. So that's why I personally don't prefer the over-the-top method. All right, next technique is going to be the slide lock lever. This is a Gen 5, so it has it on both sides, but most people are going to use one of their thumbs to activate the slide lock lever and let the slide go forward, right? This is a very simple technique, right? Insert a magazine, and then at that point, I hit the slide lock lever, establish my grip, and I am good to go, right? Super efficient, super fast. I have a slight variation to it. I like using my support side thumb. So what I do is I insert magazine, right? Insert magazine. As I'm establishing my grip, I use my support side thumb to press the slide lock lever, finish establishing my grip, press out, and I am good to go, right? The reason I like that is because I do sometimes find that I have a difficult time with my strong side thumb to activate that, or I have to break my grip slightly to hit it. So by using my support side thumb, I'm very efficient at that. Insert magazine, press out, and I am good to go. Now, a couple of the misconceptions about the slide lock lever, right? The over-the-top guys are going to hate on this because one of the reasons that I hear, which is kind of completely a myth, is, well, that's a fine motor skill and it's going to be difficult to do in a real-life situation. The fact of the matter is that this little button here to get rid of the magazine is a fine motor skill. This lever here, the trigger, right, is a fine motor skill, right? Shooting a firearm is a complexion of fine motor skills combined together to shoot, right? So that argument, in my opinion, is not valid, right? If you practice a technique over and over again and you master it, you're going to have no problem doing it for real, right? So that is the technique that I prefer. Now, here's what's going to happen. I'm gonna bust out this shot timer here on the target, and I'm gonna do both techniques. I'm gonna go over the top, and I'm gonna use the slide lock lever. I'm gonna go as fast as possible on both. I'm gonna give you 100% effort, right, on both techniques. That way you'll get some real-time data on which one is faster or more efficient, and that way you can kind of make that determination for yourself. All right, so I'm gonna shoot the drill. I got the shot timer set up. I'm only worried about the time between the first shot and the second shot, right? I don't care how fast the first one is. I'm only cared about that split time. As a matter of fact, we don't even care if we hit the target, right? I'm only trying to get data on that time in between. I'm gonna start off with the over-the-top technique, right? I'm gonna punch out, I'm gonna go over the top, get some data for you, and then I'll transition to the other one, right? So let's get to it. All right, 226. Let me set that back up. Here we go. $269, got a little bit hung up, but I'm gonna average these out. $269, here we go. One last time. And 233, right? So, as you can see, those are about in the 230, 240 ranges. So I'll average them out, see where we're at. All right, now we're gonna go with the slide lock lever, right? I'm gonna use my technique where I insert the magazine, use my support side thumb to activate the slide lock lever, let the slide go forward, and re-engaging. All right, let's get some data on that, see where we're at. All right. 197. Let's do it again. 197. $183, so a little bit faster on that one. 183. Set it back up one more time. Here we go. $174 for that last shot there, right? So as you can see, significantly faster with the slide lock lever technique. All right, there you have it. Those were the two techniques for dealing with slide lock reload, right? Either over the top, as I discussed earlier, I feel it's not as efficient because there's a lot of excess movement, right? Bottom, top, bottom, right? But it is the simpler of the two, right? Other option is the slide lock lever, right, which is my preferred method. I use my support side thumb, and as you can see, just based on the data, that one is significantly faster. Now, caveat that is my preferred method, is the one I practice the most, so of course, I'm gonna be a little bit faster with that, but still, overall, it's probably about a half a second faster than the over-the-top technique, and I was going as fast as possible on each. Right, so if you found this information valuable, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe, as it truly does help. With that, stay safe and train hard.